The Iranian terrorist movement Fadayan Islam, founded in 1946 by Nawab Safawi, and a supporter for the Khomeini and Islamic Revolution, was inspired by the example of 1920s formed Muslim Brotherhood and its support for Shia and Sunni unity. But today, Iran shuns religious unity, and because the Muslims Brotherhood ideology differs from country to country, it finds it's forced to approach each faction on an individual basis. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) once considered Hamas, the military wing of Palestinian Brotherhood, comparable to its Basij force and as easily manipulated. Former Iranian MP and Basij commander Javad Karmini Qadusi said, "The brigades of Izz al-Din al-Qassam and Basij are under the command of Iran, not under the command of Khalid Mashal or Ismail Haniyeh. If some countries wish to bribe the leaders of Palestine, the brigades are under the order of Iran." Despite Iran's military and financial support of Hamas being no secret, al-Qassam's brigades aren't, nor ever have been, under IRGC command. But as Qadusi's statement demonstrates, Tehran did expect Hamas to become one of their proxy military units. But differences damaged the relationship following the Syrian uprising. Tehran supported Assad, Hamas empathized with the Sunni rebellion and refused to support Assad. The clear divisions in the Syrian conflict left Hamas no choice. It could not risk alienating the Sunni Arab support. Tehran, strongly pro-Assad, promptly cancelled all financial and military aid to Gaza-based Hamas. The breakdown in their pact was reported by Hezbollah news and media outlets in Lebanon, and some Iranian media too, and in statements by the Iranian government officials confirmed the continued tension between Hamas and Iran, despite denial by both parties. Iranian MP Hashmatullah Falahat Bishar revealed that the conflict between the two sides was getting more hostile, saying the Palestinian group continued to support groups that serve the Syrian opposition, adding that Hamas needs to reconsider its views on the Syria crisis if they want to remain on good terms with Iran. Bishar further threatened Hamas, saying if Hamas continues to adopt this obstructive political approach, it is certain that Iran will build ties with other Palestinian groups without causing any serious harm to the resistance. Iran also accused Hamas of having Israeli connections. Hosru Arouj, advisor to IRGC commander Ali Jafari, claimed Hamas was in negotiations with Tel Aviv. Hamas, in a new manifesto, realigned itself as an Islamic national movement and has broken links to the Muslim Brotherhood. Iranian media claim this further damages relations between Iran and Hamas, accusing Hamas of accepting the establishment Palestine and normalization with Israeli. When Ismail Haniyeh replaced Khalid Mashal as leader of the Hamas political bureau, Hamas are offered two options: develop a relationship with the Gulf states or move into alignment with Iran. As Haniyeh always advocated reconciliation with Tehran, he chose Iran. Iranian officials now admit to renewed funding of Hamas. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Marzia Afkam said they would continue to support the resistance front in the region, especially the Palestinian Hamas. Iran has held meetings with Hamas, along with IRGC leaders and senior Hezbollah figures in Lebanon, this following 2 weeks of direct talks between Iran and Hamas. Iran and Hamas agreed to resume diplomatic relations at the level they were prior to the Syrian fallout. The agreement was supported by commander of IRGC's Al-Quds Brigade, Qasim Soleimani, Ismail Haniyeh, and Hamas Gaza leader Yahya Sinwar. Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif congratulated Haniyeh for winning Hamas elections and emphasized Iran's continued support for the struggle of the Palestinian people until the Israeli occupation is removed. The Iranian news agency reported Soleimani saying he expects strengthening ties with Hamas and jihad against the arrogance of the world and its satellite, Zionism, which are working to divert the jihad of the nation from its Islamic compass. Recently, however, the rules of engagement have been redrawn as Mohammed Dalan, an exiled Palestinian, has started negotiations with the newly selected Hamas executive Yahya Sinwar, with plans to reopen the Gaza-Egyptian border and work towards rebuilding the Gaza economy, beginning with the construction of a UAE-funded $100 million power plant on the Egyptian side of the border. Dalan and Sinwar have a long-standing relationship, having grown up together in Gaza's Khan Yunis refugee camp, before going their separate ways as Sinwar joined Hamas while Dalan chose the Fatah movement. It's probable that Iran will continue to support Hamas military. It may also continue to encourage divisions within Hamas to give itself more control over the organization. Iran clearly wants to rebuild its strong former relationship with Hamas, and perhaps develop more control over Hamas too. But this new UAE Delan development could start a bidding war to keep Hamas on side. One which Iran must win for Tehran to maintain its role as master manipulator of the Middle East.